Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today I thought I'd talk to you about the secret life of a sewing vlogger. So I thought I'd take you behind the scenes a little bit, let you see what goes on, give you a spy into my room, and just let you see how I go about planning my vlogs and my content that I share with you. So welcome, I'm Alison. Let's take a little look behind the scenes. So for me, my content starts with my planning, and I like to think about what I'm going to do and when I'm going to share it with you. So I do use my phone diary for everything, kind of appointments and dates. But for me, planning is stationery, it's pen, it's paper. And so for me, it starts with a good old-fashioned diary. So it's a nice chunky one. I did get a thin one this year, but I don't know, it didn't have enough substance. I needed something a bit more. So if you've been with me for a little while, you'll know that in terms of my own personal sewing mix, I like to use Stash Hub. I find that invaluable. And what I've recently done is stop trying to just make lots of stuff. I did that a little while ago and really think about what are my considered makes? Where are my gaps? What do I want to make? I do have some commitments to other things. So I do work as I don't work, I'm a pattern insider for Sew Over It. And about 8 times a year there's a release. I don't have to do all of them. If I want to continue to be a pattern insider and keep access to Stitch School, yay, and all of their patterns, then I need to do 4 of those a year, which it's just not difficult because I love them. So this month, for example, this is January 2025. There is a pattern release next week. I've made that. I've been out today and took some photographs of it, so I can't quite share them with you yet, but come back on Friday and you'll see that. I've got a couple of makes to share with you next week. And yeah, and I am trying to be a bit more considered about where I can get photos. At the moment, this is my photo background wall. Sometimes I take me out and kind of put that picture onto a flat colour like a pink or a blue just for something different. It's tricky in the winter because it's hard to get pictures in the UK. It's a bit grim, isn't it, at times? It's beautiful today, blue skies, been to the beach. You'll see those pictures next week. So I plan out my content. I think about what I'm going to do from a makes point of view, and then I plan that out. So Friday sews tends to be my makes. Once a month I do my sewing plans. So I schedule that in. So I do try to think, obviously, if I've got a date coming up where I want a specific garment for, I plan that into Stash Hub, put that deadline in, that keeps me right, then it goes into my diary. Didn't used to be that organised. I used to just kind of wing it all a little bit, but for me, right now, that's really helping and making a difference for me. The other element of my planning is my trusty notebook. Now, this isn't something I did use before, but I am really working on what content I think you would like me to share. If there is some, let me know. As long as it's reasonable, I might be able to do it, but I'm open to ideas. So this year, I've started with the new page, and so far, this is the list that I've got of ideas of vlogs that I'd like to do. So this is on top of my weekly makes. There are 2 types of content for vloggers to make on YouTube. So one is kind of teach and learn and chatty. So our chatty vlogs would fall into that. And the other type is specifically sort of more teaching and education, still in a fun way, and that's what you call evergreen content. So that is content that someone might still be looking for in 5 years time or 10 years time. I use that a lot. I will go in and search YouTube for how to do something. So I do it a lot for vlogging, how to set up a background, how to use lighting, how to use my camera settings, that kind of thing. I use it, it's my go-to for everything in life. Sorry, not light. So yeah, and then I take each of these and I start to break it down into plans. So that's my plan already. I've started for Sew Frugal, which is coming up in a couple of months' time. So I've got planning pages for each of them. I don't want to hold them up in case you pause it and you can see. And then at the back of this, I've been doing some brainstorming. Are we allowed to call that anymore? For the sort of vlogs I'm wanting to share with you for the partnership that I'm doing as a brand ambassador for Baby Lock, and some of the techniques that you're asking me for. So the different machines and the things that I would like to share, I was just doing that at the back of that book. So that's how I do that. And then obviously I transfer that and put it into my schedule in my diary. So that is my planning. So step 2 really has to be my room, my space. It's multifunctional. It's not only my sewing space, it's my sanctuary. I love it. But it's also kind of where I do officey things like admin. And you might think, well, what officey things do you use? But obviously I do editing. So you record, you edit, you upload. You also put end cards in so it links to other videos or playlists of yours. Obviously adding pictures in. So all of that kind of, I do a lot of that on my phone, but I also do it on my laptop up here. So this desk is working out absolutely brilliantly for that. But also things like, when you take time to comment, which I love it, you know I love it if you comment, then I like to respond to you quite quickly. I mean, I'm not an on-call vlogger, but I do like to respond within a reasonable time scale of a day or two, obviously depending on what I'm doing at the time. And for me, that's just something I've set up and I like to do. I hope my channel continues to grow and I get to chat to you more, because yeah, that's part of what I like. I'm sort of meeting lots of people. So in terms of admin, there is something different that I use as well. It's open to anyone, and it's something called vidIQ. So they do videos on YouTube about people who have YouTube channels or are thinking about starting YouTube channels, lots of tips and ideas about all aspects of it. And they also have a website you can access. So the picture that you see when you click on, that is called my thumbnail, and I've been doing lots of work on that on my thumbnail, because you might be a subscriber and you get a notification when I release a new video. For some people it might be a picture at the side when they're watching a different video, and then after that they might click on that. That's called the click-through rate. So your thumbnail and the description, what you write in that, is really important for helping people find your video. So I've been really working through the website of vidIQ. It's great because you can drop them in and it gives you suggestions for how to improve them, but you can also use that for planning ideas and things. So I love it. So if you're a vlogger watching this or you're interested in it, I can't recommend it enough, vidIQ. There is a free option with that as well. So let me take you on a whole 360 of my room. This is a space that you may not recognise. It's quite new. Well, it's adapted, let's be honest. So this was my higher cutting table. I'll pop a picture in. It had a chest of drawers under it. It's worked great for me in this room. I've been over the moon to have an A4 cutting area. However, because I'm going to have some extra machines, I wanted to have a separate area. So we've recently added a rise and fall desk. So it's the same desktop. We've just moved drawers around and put the rise and fall on, which is brilliant. So sorry if this goes a bit blurry, but now I'm going to show you it just goes up. I know it's not that exciting, it's not super fast, but I can take that up there. It's got presets, and then around there it becomes my cutting desk. So underneath I've just got some patterns in a bin, but I wanted to create a nice backdrop, so I've been really working on this. So I've got some of my books that I do use on the shelf, some threads and my sign. Some of this you can see in the background and some of it you can't. The little penguin was just a little gift off Carl a few years ago and I've just found it. So obviously this is my workspace and my sewing space. So by workspace, I don't think of my vlogs with you guys as work, but I am running my virtual sessions from here, so you can see my laptop there, and obviously I'll drop that down and use it as a desk. That's my virtual notebook, because I want to just take some notes so I can remember what people are working on, and that I might not refer to it, but it helps me take it in. Then these are the books that I use for planning, my diary, and then these are just my bits and bobs to go with the Gloria, ready for going out and about. So it's also doubling up now as a bit of an ironing station as well. So I had a cricket mat that was about 30 centimetres square still. But I wanted a bigger pad, so I got one of those ones that's a couple of feet wide from, I just got it from Amazon. It's in that little bag down there, just stores at the side. It's quite a good size. So it means I don't have to get the ironing table out if I'm just pressing some reasonable size seams. And I've used that this week. It worked really well. It's one of those wool mats, comes in a bag, great stuff. So moving across a little, we've got, obviously I've got my IKEA little kitchen stuff on the back there where you've got your little ducats, or my clips, electric scissors, etc. are in there. This is one of 3 ring lights like this that's in the room. It's like a medium-sized ring light. I've just got these from Amazon, mostly for light and to use my phone to record, because I do have a Sony ZV-1, I think it's called. I'll put the name on if that's not right. But these come with these phone camera mounts, and these are really great. So I can, if I want to record in this corner over here, round behind me, I know you can't see, but I'll put a picture in. I can use this stretched over like this, put my phone in and get a great angle of that corner with the light. But if I want to do some recording here, I can swing it right round here and the light just moves. These have been probably one of the best finds, and the light is so good. I'll pop the light on now. You can see just what a difference it makes. So I don't have any fancy lighting, I've just had craft lighting, but I can bend that right down, angle it, get right in, or obviously if I'm recording I can point that onto me. So I absolutely love these. You'll see the second one in a moment. I'm not going to go through what's in every drawer. I've just got a little ironing basket there so I can move that for when I'm pressing, and if I'm recording I can move that out. You're all familiar with this background. So here's my 8 calyx stash. There's a gap in the end one, but I resisted fabric today. That's just basically my main storage area for patterns and things. And you can see one of my vintage machines up on the top, and then coming round. This is the main area that I normally would be sewing in. So I've got my Acclaim, I've got my Euphoria, and then round here I've got my Pfaff sewing machine. I've recently swapped these machines over because, sorry, I have a chair that I sort of need to just move out the way. That just floats around the room depending on where I'm sitting. Yeah, we did have some Alex drawers here, and we've took those out and put legs on and moved them under the other desk. And this is just a metal set of drawers that I already had from IKEA, but I can just push it back a bit. When the Alex drawers were here, they sort of came to about there, so I couldn't quite get under, and I was on an angle, and I've got a bit of a back thing going on, and I think that was bothering it. So I've had a bit of a change. So you can see there's another one of those lights in this corner. Now this one works great, same reason, pull the light down if I need it, but also if I want to take shots against my wallpaper wall, and you'll all know those sort of pictures that I mean, I can just move this over, line up my camera, and I can take those pictures of that wall. So it's really helped me because I used to have to put a tripod up to do that. Now I'm south facing, but you can probably see the sun's just setting. Get loads of light in here, so often the curtain is pulled across, sadly. Don't like that, but it's a need. Then here is another backdrop that I've recently created and started to use to record against. Just because it's really nice to have something different. I'm trying to get 3 views for you guys. So this is one, my fabric wall is another, and then the wall that I've just created there is another. Now, you can see here, this is my dressing table area. Now, the problem I noticed recording in this corner was when my projector was on my cutting table, and you can see my bits and bobs there in the mirror, you could see the reflection of that. So to solve that, Cal's just put a curtain rail up for me, and I've now got a curtain just with a magnetic tie back from IKEA, so I can pull that across and it gets rid of all this clutter that you can see. But also when I'm doing so virtual, that is my background, and I just move these out the way. So this is, I have a second stash. This is my makeup, skincare and things that I'm using. This is my stash, because that is my advent calendar from Liberty, which is now full of my buttons. It's my button storage. I'm really loving how it is. These are very recent changes within the last week, and I'm recording this in January 2025. And then the final stage of the room, I'll come over here, is just the way that I've come in, and that's where my ironing board lives, behind the door. I've had a tidy up, so I've only got one garment hanging on the door. And then down here is my nail trolley area. I don't do nails for people, I just do them myself, and my daughter uses that as well. But that trolley's quite handy because we can move it around. So that is my space. I think I've got the setup for life, but who knows? Step 3, I've touched on a little when you've just seen the video of my room, but I've tried to work on having 3 different backgrounds. So this is my newest one, I'm still working on it. This has recently changed here. So these are just some drawers with my little ribbon basket on. I just wanted a nice feature. The plant was in my kitchen, I've robbed that. There's a little rainbow behind my head, which is just a personal little thing of mine. My So Like dotty signs behind me, we finally got that back up again. But when it's lit up, it's a little bit too bright. And here I've got some of my books that I use, like Tilly and the Buttons Make It Simple, Sew & Bee books, and some threads, just to make a nice little backdrop for when I'm recording and sharing with you. You will recognise a couple of backdrops. So there is, of course, here my wall of, well, not wall of fabric, but you'll recognise that. And then there's another corner that I mentioned in the vlog that I've been working on. So if I've not already, I'll drop some pictures in of previous vlogs with those on as well. So backgrounds are important. For me, it's really important for it to look fairly uncluttered. If I'm watching something, if I'm watching anybody who's vlogging and it's really messed up and cluttered, like I kind of get distracted about it. So that's what I've been working on. Lots of tips out there for that. I'm really liking this, I've got to say. Let me know what you think. Message me in the comments. Let me know what you think. For number 4, it's really simple. Making things. I'm a sewist, I sew, and that is the content I primarily want to share with you. So obviously I've explained how I use this room. I'll drop in a picture where I was cutting something out this week, a little teaser with some fabric, and I make things like this drew that I'm wearing today. So that is the pleasure for me, and I always need to keep that balance, that equilibrium, because if that stops being pleasure, then I really wouldn't want to record and share. But just like some of you, I can lose my sojo as well. But we've been talking about that on So Virtual, and some of the ladies that have joined me on there have been talking about, you know, how they've got their sojo back or things that they're going to do. At the moment, my sojo's in full swing. That's not an issue, but actually managing the amount of things that I want to sew has really helped with that. So join me each week to find out more about number 4 and my makes. So number 5 is prep, and it's prep of mostly this, because, and this. So choosing what I want to wear to share the vlog with you. Now for some channels it's really easy. My husband watches a lot of car ones, so the guys with black t-shirts on, every week they have black t-shirts. They can do a lot of, like, you can do B-roll footage, so background sort of recording a video, but I would call it B-roll pictures. So they might have a lot of pictures where they kind of like, or for thumbnails, or just because they're always in the same clothes. But this is a sewing channel, and of course I want to share the things that I've made because I'm really proud of them. So often I'll be wearing something that I've made and then talking about it, or sometimes like today it's just choosing something that I like. This is a drew that I recently made in a Rita Hanson fabric. But also a bit of self-care and a bit of disclosure from me. I was really busy with work, probably about a year, just over a year ago, a year and a half ago. I was kind of doing 3 different part-time jobs, and I definitely felt at times that it was like, right, just run in, bung my hair up, put a little curl in there, I haven't got any makeup on, put a bit of lippy on, jump in front of the camera and just jabber on. And no offence to anybody who does that, but that wasn't working for me. I was finding it quite stressful, and I didn't feel like I was delivering my best content for you. So now I'm taking a bit more time, but sometimes it involves a bit of this. So don't laugh. Yeah, I've got a silk bonnet. I've also got, so I've gone kind of a bit au naturel straight today. I'm a bit windswept from the beach, but I do have one of those heatless curlers, the velvet ones. Oh my word, what a game changer. So if my hair's curly, I curl it with the Dyson, and then each night I put it up in those heatless curlers. The velvet ones stay in, the silk ones just slide out my hair. And then I've got that bonnet that I've got is silk on the inside and satin on the outside. So I am at work in the morning, so when I go to bed tonight, I'll just scoop my hair up, put it into the bonnet, and it rather than tie it back. And I'm finding that's really helping my hair. Sorry, just get that back in. But yeah, so I do take a bit of time. I do tend to schedule my recording in and think about the days that I'm washing my hair and I'm putting my makeup on. But that's just what we do when we go to work, isn't it? And that's what I think of. I need to represent myself in the best way possible to you if you're taking the time to watch. Don't laugh at my picture in the bonnet too much, and don't take a still and put it on Instagram. Number 6 I've mentioned already. So once I've done a recording, it's the editing and the uploading. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but it does take time. Can't underestimate that. So I try to do recordings because I think I've planned it in. I don't work off a script. I know some people do, but I do plan it in what I'm wanting to say and think about it a bit more. And that means that I miss less things out. And, you know, if I say the wrong word or something, I'm not too worried about editing it out. I don't want it to be over edited where it's stop, start all the time. And I try to simplify it for me. So you might notice when I'm talking about a sewing pattern, something that I'm making, I hold up the instructions. I store all of my instructions separately, deliberately, because that saves me having to find that picture and add it in as an edit later. And if I'm looking for sizes or information, I can just flick through the instructions. So that's the reason that I do that. If I've made a mistake or the dog barks because the postman's come, this is what I do. And then when it's all settled down again, I do that. And then when I go through an edit, I know I need to take that little chunk out. So if you ever catch me doing that, that means I've not quite got my editing correct. The uploading to YouTube after editing, first of all, if you've got to export it from the whatever you're using to edit it. So I have to export it to my iPhone for pictures, then you upload it to YouTube, and then there are lots of checks and things that are done on YouTube, little boxes that you've got to tick. I've got that set up automatically, so if I upload from my laptop, a lot of the things that I put in my description box all of the time are automatically put in, and then I can just add the detail or change the pattern and the fabric on that. That saves me quite a lot of time, but if I do that on my phone, it doesn't load that in automatically. So just finding the ways that make it easier. But the actual uploading onto YouTube, well, it's a bit like this, guys, I'm not going to lie. Because you can click upload. I've had things take hours and hours in the house, not out and about anywhere, hours and hours, and other things minutes, and it's done. So you never quite know. Well, hey-ho. And I've already kind of mentioned you would add the thumbnail in, you'd add the title, the description box and things, and then you're good to go. And obviously choosing when you schedule it. Unlike me last week, I picked the wrong day, but I tend to try to stick to Fridays and Sundays on the whole. So for me, number 7 is just a bit of an overview of everything. So what do I mean by that? I mean me just kind of looking at things, like how well did something work? Did people like it? Is it the sort of thing I think people want to see? But actually I do there's a lot of background data in YouTube that you can use, and I quite like information and statistics. I know it's a bit odd, so I do a bit of a look around on that as well. I'm interested, what can I say? And then we just go in a loop and the planning starts again. So I hope that was an interesting insight into the secret life of a sewing vlogger. It's probably very similar for most vloggers, just the content's different. It might be of interest to you if you're thinking about starting a channel, or just a bit of background information, but I hope you've enjoyed that today. And I will link one of my videos in at the end, because as I said, I always put an end card in, so you'll see that pop up here or here if you'd like to take a look at that. And thanks for spending some time with me today. Take care. Drop some chat into the comments. Let's have a conversation, and I'll be back with you for my Friday sews. Bye guys.